It's definitely rudeness, but I don't think
it comes out of a discomfort, perhaps,
or just an unwillingness to engage unless he's in control of the situation, and he just wants. It's more like a control issue than a arrogance issue for me. Right. But I get why it comes off as arrogance, because it is definitely rude. But we got an email to put some context into the other side of the fence. On Wayne Bennett did a coaching seminar that coaches from the South East were able to attend. I believe there were 75 or so coaches there. Right. This was last night, I think, Monday night, and apparently through that you didn't have to pay to go like the sponsored corporate events that some of the press have been banging on about. He was happy to turn up to those, but he didn't want to do an interview for us now, sort of thing, which okay, but this wasn't like that. Probably he's probably contracted to do it somehow and that sort of thing, but the people who attended didn't pay. And he gave them a couple of hours of his time. He did a seminar for a certain period of time, then did a Q&A, and then took pictures of people and that sort of stuff, and apparently was thoroughly engaging and very interesting, and showed his passion for rugby league, his passion for expansion, his desire for England to do well, which does not come across in his BBC interviews.
No.
So that's the two sides of the coin we're dealing with, and it's almost like we all know that he loves rugby league, that he does want the game to prosper internationally, and that he wants this England team to win the Four Nations, to win the World Cup. But he just doesn't. It's the disconnect between not showing that at all. But the thing I don't like is the step beyond that, when he doesn't like thank Tanya Arnold or be pleasant to her at the start and end of interviews and that sort of thing. That to me is a little bit beyond acceptable.
I'll be interested to see what he is like on Saturday afternoon when he's interviewed.
Is it Sunday?
Saturday or Sunday?
It's on Sunday, and they moved it to the Sunday, didn't they, in the end,
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. Right, well, and always lovely to hear from Rich as well, now then. So that's the feedback and shout-outs taken care of. Let's take a look now.
Tom, this show's already going to go well over the 1 hour.
Yeah, I know. Well, we've been going for 45 minutes and we're on news. So let's take a look now at news from around the world of rugby league. Okay, so to this week's news then, and we'll start at the Menderhose Jungle Mark, where Castleford Tigers have signed fullback Zach Hardacre from their Super League Rhinos, the Leeds Rhinos, on a 1-year loan deal with a view to a permanent move. Hardacre scored 67 tries in 155 games for the Rhinos before joining NRL side Penrith Panthers on loan this June. The 24-year-old, who has been capped 5 times by England, scored only 1 try in 12 games whilst in Australia. There is no doubt he is an outstanding rugby league player. Tigers head coach Darryl Powell said his flexibility in playing a number of positions in the back line will clearly enhance what is already a very talented squad and add quality competition. What do you think?
Very good signing for Castleford. It does leave questions about other players in the squad, but we might get onto one of them later. But Denny Solomona is obviously the big speculation that's constantly going on about recently engaged, just like Denny Solomona.
I remember you pointed that out to me, having to explain who she was. And
well, I don't know who she was. I've just seen pictures of her on social media.
Yes. She looks like an obliging lass.
Well, it seems that she has some role in modelling or TV presenting or that sort of thing. She's quite glamorous, and they seem to have been having a wicked time since the end of the season, going on holidays to Australia and New Zealand and America, where they got engaged in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but congratulations to
Denny Solomona. Gossip
say.
Really should be focused on whether he's leaving rugby league to go to Sale Sharks.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, the strong rumour is that it's Sale Sharks and loan back for a year, isn't it? That's the one I've heard.
Okay.
So we shall see. But if Zach Hardacre can recapture his best form
and the other
for Tigers, this is a phenomenal signing, because he does offer that utility as well. He's a strong fullback, but he can play in the centres and a bit on the wing too.
And it might be a good fit for him in terms of Darryl Powell has worked with him before at Featherstone when he was coming through and seemed to sort of get him on the right track back then.
Yeah.
So I think that's positive.
Yeah. You'd be made up if you were a Tigers fan, wouldn't you?
I'd say so, and also it makes Cass like it reaffirms that Cass are still a contender, and will be on on the radar for a top 4 spot.
Well, that will be their target, won't it? Top 4 finish. So good luck to them as they go in search of that next season. Hooker Logan Tompkins has signed a new 1-year deal with the Salford Red Devils for 2017, having helped save their Super League status in 2016. Tompkins is 24 and left Wigan, where his brothers Joel and Sam play, to link up with the Red Devils this July, and was, an ever-present for Ian Watson's side. Salford, of course, have already lost captain and fellow hooker Tommy Lee to St Helens for the upcoming campaign. Logan stepped up to be our starting 9 last season, said Watson. He does things across the park that don't always get seen but make a massive difference to the team. He's shown big improvements during his time here, and I'm sure he can continue to develop in 2017. So congratulations to the younger of the Tompkins brothers.
Yeah, he's not necessarily dynamic or exciting all the time, but he is hard working. He does have reasonable passing skills. I'd like to see him learn how to run more, but Salford have that young Sean Kenny as the sort of runner off the bench, don't they, for the dummy half position. But I think it's a sensible choice for player and club.
Yeah, absolutely. Huddersfield Giants and former England forward Earl Crabtree has announced his retirement from rugby league at the ripe old age of 34, same age as me, interestingly enough. So not perhaps so right, Earl. Crabtree spent his entire 16-year professional career at the Huddersfield Giants, playing 423 times and scoring 79 tries in the process. He's the nephew of legendary wrestler Big Daddy, and he's also represented England 18 times. My head and body are telling me it's time to hang up the boots while still a regular first teamer.
Must have retired in July then.
Oh, Mark, don't be horrible. It has been an honour and a pleasure to serve my hometown club throughout my entire professional playing career, and while retirement from playing is a major landmark, the bonus is that I can have my nose put back to its original position. Crabtree was part of the losing Huddersfield Giants sides in the 2006 and 2007 Challenge Cup finals, and was named in the Super League Dream Team as recently as 2013 when the Giants won the League Leaders' Shield. He's going to take up a role with the club's commercial and marketing teams. Earl has been an outstanding player for this club, and no one should be in any doubt that he ranks among the finest professional sportsmen ever to come from Huddersfield, said Managing Director Richard Thewlis. His playing record in the toughest sporting league, in physically the toughest position to me, marks him out as someone very special. He was the mainstay and cornerstone of our pack for years, and without a doubt, a talisman for the supporters to get behind. Yes, he absolutely is. Talismanic is the word I would use to describe Earl Crabtree in his prime, certainly, with those Samson-like flowing locks and his sheer size. He was, on his day, almost unplayable, wasn't he?
He's had many a great game in Super League, and he's been a strong player, like I say, a massive force in that side. I think he'll go down as a Huddersfield Giants legend, even though, he didn't win the trophies that some of the people of the teams of the sort of early 20th century maybe won and that sort of stuff. He'll still be on the list of greats of Fartown, I'd say, and he deserves to be so. And he's probably got the personality as well to carry into a commercial and marketing role. I'm sure he'll be dedicated to what he does there and represent the club quite well publicly as well in anything he needs to do. One
of my favourite things about this story is that Robbie Savage tweeted him to wish him a happy retirement as well, which I thought was quite nice, because he's a fat Robbie Savage, isn't he? So that's quite cute. Lee Centurions have signed...
There's going to be a fatter Robbie Savage,
he's going to be a fat,
It seems like the kind who might just sort of...
go to seed.
And enjoy himself.
Absolutely. Good, and deservedly so.
We need a few more of them. Piggy Riddell times, when he retired, he just ballooned.
Wow, didn't he just? Piggy Riddell, my word. Lee Centurions have signed Castleford Tigers centre Ben Crooks on a season-long loan for 2017. He scored 6 tries in his 28 appearances for Cass last season. The 23-year-old began his career at Hull FC before a move to the Parramatta Eels in 2014, but he failed to make an appearance in the NRL and returned to the Super League with Cass for last season. The coaching staff had identified Ben as a perfect fit for our model, said Lee Centurions head coach Neil Dukes. He could face his parent side in Lee's opening game, of course, at the start of next season on the 10th of February. I was surprised by this one.
I assume it's shuffling the deck around a little bit at Cass to fit players in. That's all I can assume, because whilst he sort of found himself falling out of the team on a sort of towards the end of the Super 8s, he still played well when he did come back in.
Yeah.
And he's potentially a very, very good signing for the Leeds Centurions if he plays to the right level of dedication and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's had up and down years so far in his career.
Yeah.
But good luck to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Leeds Rhinos have confirmed the signing of halfback Corey Aston from Sheffield Eagles on a 2-year deal this week. 21-year-old Aston leaves the Eagles after spending just over 3 years in their first team setup, but also came through the youth development system at Sheffield. During his time there, he made 69 appearances in which he scored 31 tries and kicked 92 goals, racking up a total of 308 points for the Sheffield side. On his move to the Rhinos, Aston said, "This is a great opportunity for me. It's a dream come true to sign for Leeds Rhinos and get the chance to play in the top flight, having played in the Championship for the last few years. I've had a good chat with Brian McDermott and I'm looking forward to learning from him. I have been at Sheffield all my life and obviously only had one coach in my dad, so it will be a fresh start with a different voice and new concepts and systems about how to play the game. I'm excited about the challenge of playing in Super League and testing myself in training and in games against the best players around." What a phenomenal move. What a great move for young Corey Aston to get that opportunity to step up, live in that full-time environment, live in a more professional full-time environment and a more stable one, and learn from some very experienced halfbacks in Burrow and Maguire, some youngsters who've had the benefit of that system in Sutcliffe and Jordan Lilly. Wonderful opportunity for him. I sincerely hope he doesn't end up just out on dual reg at Fev.
Well, obviously Sutcliffe is going to be the fullback.
Well, not necessarily, because Ash Golding has got the number 1 jersey for the season.
Oh, has that been given?
Yeah, so...
But I would still suspect Sutcliffe will play more.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you.
But so you'd sort of see him as maybe 4th choice in the house, but the older two.
Well, the injuries that they had in the house last season means that he would have got game time this year, wouldn't he?
And the difference between him and a lot of the other young players coming up through the Super League in possible halfback roles, you look at people like Morgan Smith, say, and Dec Patton at Warrington, who are both very promising, but how many games have they had under the belt? Well, this kid has had a ton of games.
Yeah.
He's had a very important role in Sheffield, especially in the last season when he was the goal kicker, he was the playmaker in chief for most of the season. He was the one players were looking to all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know, when more experienced people like Don Brown Barney and Pat Walker and people like that, Cal Briggs, people like that left the side over that period.
Yeah.
He became the sort of...
He was the linchpin, wasn't he?
Almost, yeah. It's in many games anyway. And yes, it wasn't a successful season for Sheffield, but he's been able to have that sort of part of his development that some other players in Super League level wouldn't have had, and I think it might make him battle hard. And I think it's a very exciting move.
At 21 years of age, he's spent 3 seasons with some big nasty Championship forwards looking to plough into him every time he gets the ball in his hands. So
and he's played the odd game as
fearless
interchange hooker in his time as well, when he was only 18 or 19, coming off the bench to do that job. I think, every credit to him.
Good luck to him indeed. Okay. Going down under then, Ben Barber has been released by the Cronulla Sharks with immediate effect following his positive test for cocaine. The club released a statement saying that the decision was made so that Barber can address some significant personal issues. Barber has said that he will take some time away from the game to deal with some of the issues that he has. I know and accept I need to take some time away from a game to deal with some personal issues, he said. I am accountable for myself and my actions, and if I don't address them now, I will certainly ruin my career, and more importantly, my life and that of my family. As footballers, we often find it hard to speak up about having problems, but this decision has lifted so much pressure off me that I cannot start to explain just how much better I feel by taking this action. Barber said he hoped to return to the club at some stage in the future, whilst Sharks CEO Lyle Gorman said it was a tough time for the club, but they were putting Barber's health first. He says, while Ben will be a major loss to the football club, the far greater priority is for him to focus on his long-term future away from football, and we will continue to support Ben throughout that process in any way we can. Very, very disappointing end to a stellar season, really, for Ben Barber. And I don't defend his actions at all. I mean, I like the fact that he's holding his hand up, and that's the mark of a man to say that he's made mistakes, but there is a reckless irresponsibility in some of the things that he's done, and he does need to get that fixed. So good luck to him. And of course, good luck to his family, who are the unwitting victims of any kind of...
Obviously, almost every time Ben Barber is on an upwards trajectory in his rugby league career,
He's
something will happen off the
self-destruct, doesn't he?
field.
Yeah.